in a here, they're ready to play here on the Battlegrounds. Very excited to see how they're going to perform. But of course, Niptura, looking at Inner Circle, this is off the back globally of a great presence back in PMWC earlier on this year. I wonder, are they going to bring that same level of heat they brought earlier this year? If they do so, I'm very excited to see how Inner Circle are going to perform these matches.
Same here. I'm really excited to see them play. I always love seeing them play. I always think they're so opportunistic with their favorite play style. But how are they going to go up against the teams? We got some big names, guys. Ultimate is got C+, Kia as well. I mean, not to mention APG. Yes, APG had a horrible Gauntlet stage. I can say that. But historically, they're a very good team. And, you know, Inner Circle, they got some big names.
Oh yeah, they do. And of course, you know, you mentioned it, D+. These are our previous year's PMGC champions, Max Man. I know you've been looking at this team all year long. What are the expectations for this squad going into this PMGC?
Top 3. Really, Hot Jukes, if you don't expect D+ to be in top 3 currently as the current reigning champions of PMGC, I feel like you haven't been paying attention. They've had some rough performances recently. PMIC, I think they got a 6th place over there. And then, but otherwise, this year overall has been extremely consistent for the side of D+ Kia. So very happy with it. And top 3 is the bare minimum here we can expect from this team.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the teams from Group Green. Suzhou Tianba from China. Team Secret from Vietnam. Esport. GS Team from Iraq. Representing Central Asia, GOAT Team. Aiku Orangutan from India. From Turkey, Papara Supermassive. From the USA, Wolves Esports. the pride of Pakistan, Inner Circle. Genji Esports from Saudi Arabia. From South Korea, D+ Kia. Reject from Japan. From Indonesia, Alter Ego Aries. And Team Balkans from the EU. Here are the teams from Group Green. Every match counts, with spots in the grand finals on the line. An elimination lurking around the corners. Who will rise when it matters the most, and who will crumble under the pressure? Let day one of the 2025 PubG Mobile Global Championship Group Green begin.
What a stacked list of players and teams. You know, one thing I did notice, though, on that intro there, right, was looking at Inner Circle. I only saw 3 players walking out, Max, man. What do you think that could be?
I'm telling you, Falak is definitely not docketing. He's not like 2 million miles away from his team. Unfortunately, I heard he's not feeling well, and I do hope he's going to be able to feel better at some point. But I do wonder, is that going to be them playing as a 3-man here because they don't have a sub? That is going to hurt them significantly, Hot Jukes. Get into a stacked lobby like this with Group Green that we call the Group of Death. It's definitely not going to bode well.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. I mean, this is going to be an absolute crazy start here. You know, speaking of crazy starts, a team that hasn't had the best start year-round, Nectura, it's got to be the Falcons. I know they had a little bit of a rough year. What do you think about them coming in here into Group Green?
Hopefully they're a lot more refreshed. I mean, yes, they haven't had a great so far. It's been up and down. They keep qualifying for global events, and then they can't seem to quite get it into that top two where they right? But hopefully this time around, come back, do all the things they need to do. I would love them just to lack in WC, for instance, did see them kind of just very tense
Yeah.
and not really just
I agree.
no relax. There was no relaxation there with them. Hopefully they learn from that and kind of go, hey, we just want to play the way that we play now.
Well, you know, that's really good to hear from them. You know, one team that is here that I definitely got to talk about is the Wolves of Max Man, right? This team in particular, right? They now have to reach top 3 in order to get into the next stage, or at least into the grand finals, Max. How do you think their chances are here? Like, how important is day 1 for them?
I do want to say, by the way, it wouldn't be a proper guest segment, right, without Hot Jukes mentioning Wolves. You know, it feels very on brand. Thank you, Hot Jukes. We've reached our quota for the day. But no, I think Wolves, of course, are going to take this extremely seriously. I kind of liked, actually, Hot Jukes, how desperate Wolves were in that last game on Miramar. They were fighting Xavier, and if they won that fight versus Xavier, maybe they overtake that position in top 7 and make it straight to the grand finals. I like that strong attempt at the end of that respective stage to try and qualify, because I think they're going to be hungrier than ever before. So Wolves, I think there's a high likelihood we could see them be in top 3. It's all dependent on this first stage. Can they have a great opening day? And if they do so, I think that, again, top 3 is in the cards for these guys.
Yeah, I think so. I think if they would have also got a point in Erangel on the last day, that would have been real nice as well. You know, so hopefully they definitely did some soul searching right on their day off and are ready for this stage. It's gonna be a tough one though. You know, every time you got to deal with some new squads, there's new drop locations, different rotational timing. That's gonna come into play big time here, Max. So we're gonna go into Rondo off the rip. And one thing that we've definitely noticed with this big change with Sandhawk leaving us is just how important Rondo has been. It's like the place to soak up those elimination points for sure. One thing is that we may have a few hot drops. I know we could have 3 teams going into that Neox factory. If you want to break it down real quick for us.
I mean, Neox factory, we might have Ultra Ego, Falcons, and Inner Circle here clashing. And that's going to be an interesting one because, of course, Ultra Ego, I'm looking in particular, representing Indonesia. You don't have BTR, you're going to have Ultra Ego. It would be great to see them make it into the grand finals. But Test Track, Neox Factory, as we know, Hotjux is pretty big, but it can't really host 3 teams. So if it does end up being a hot drop over there, I think we're going to have some very early bloodbaths happening over there. But I do know from 7, he told us Talos is playing. So at least if they do take the early fight here, Inner Circle will have the full squad. They'll be ready to fight in the first minute or 2 of this game.
All right, well, I'm also going to keep my eye on Stadium. I know D Plus and OG are going to be there. Let's get game number 1 started and send it on over to Blank and John Allen to get this going.
All right, let's head into it. Rondo back in with the recall beacons. Blank Group Green here, and the stakes are higher. No 7th place bubble to be seen. We're looking to the top 3 now.
It is a tough approach for a lot of squads going forward, John. I mean, top 3 isn't easy. I mean, top 7 was already quite tough for a fair few teams. Some teams only just making it in those final moments of the gauntlet. But top 3, yeah, it's a rough margin to make. But we are also introducing a goodbye limit, right? You do not want to be towards the bottom of the lobby because now it does actually matter. It does matter again. You will be going home after that, so it's time to cut down on the competition before we head over towards the grand finals in Thailand.
Absolutely. 5 teams going home already. 5 more as well later this week. Oh, it's going to be nasty. Or rather next week, I suppose. The weeks all sort of blur into one because we do just keep going here. And looking out for those hot drops on Rondo, Blank. That is going to be interesting to see which teams are going to go for that hotter approach, that more elimination-heavy approach early on in these matches. And it looks like we may have a few. I'm looking at Reject specifically. I can see Apollo there all the way down towards Rinjian. The rest of them, they're sat on top. And you can see we're on board with them as well, all the way up to the north.
And you got to play it setting out wide. As per usual, play the 3-1 split. Get the recall beacon off early if you do lose that engagement. You get a south shift on the circle. It's quite nice with Rondo so far. We had that horrible circle right at the beginning of the tournament over towards the water, but since then we've practically had a very, very different circle every single time that we've seen Rondo, which is great to see. This time we're down towards Guanshan. We have Falcons here on our screens. Team that has had a bit of a tumultuous pass so far, but I see moving in immediately to get the first knock of Group Green.
Inner Circle looking to try and take the fight, take the win there. It's like Falcons not having a good time though. That is unfortunate. Just Redox on the inside there. do have an off angle across the way, and yeah, and immediately looking for the Falcons to just get out of there, get away. Novallo will be moving out. I don't think that they have too many more players to play around with. I believe that the graphic on the right-hand side hasn't fully updated on the Falcons player count. There's certainly a few of them who have gone down. Redox, I mean, he's trying to get out of there, trying to get around the corners, maybe find a player. IQ steps out though. That's very down there. Good find. That's a couple of points added to eliminations for Inner Circle.
Yeah, and I think this is the thing. For Inner Circle, it's a massively promising team. I think they have a huge amount of fans on board as well. And rightly so, because they're a very, very strong squad when it comes down to it. Falak, who has continued to be one of the most promising players of the year so far, isn't feeling at his greatest today outside the game. But in-game, he's still going to be playing on. Luckily, you've got the likes of IQ, T24, Noki, who are all significantly strong players, so this team doesn't rely on just the one. It's great to see. OG starting things off over towards Reject, getting an initial knock.
Looks like OG got themselves in trouble. Oh dear. Is this the last player for Falcons? I think it might be. APG looking to try and hunt them down. Wait a minute. Did they get the recalls? They must have done, because Color went down earlier. The question is, where are the rest of them? Are they all in the same place? Are they all going to get run down, or are they going to have to go for a second recall strat?
Okay, Kamikaze with some clean shots over towards Dog, knocks him out the vehicle. 3 guys in one isn't always the best idea. IPG won't stand for that though, as they send over towards Pablo Supermassive. Luckily Kamikaze's on a gross off angle and will find the double to start this off. Goodness me, Papa Supermassive. They had an insane group stage for themselves. They faltered over in their finals, but still looking mighty strong.
Absolutely, it's good to see. A little bit of power coming through, because at the moment Falcons not really representing Europe super strongly. Novallo down. And that is brilliant news for Inner Circle. They are running rings around the Falcons. A brilliant start to our team with the boys on board. Falak, IQ, T24 on the rooftops. Doing so much for them, keeping things under control near Neox Factory. Well, we thought there might be a couple of hot drops going on blank. It seems like that definitely was the case.
Yeah, don't know how Falcons aren't dead, by the way. They've still got one player, but I swear they're taking about 7 elims just for that team alone. It's fairly amusing. But plodding onwards, ever onwards for this squad. In a nice central position right now for APG. OG came off from a good fight between them and Reject. Reject were able to reset, reevaluate, get 4 players back up again with those recall beacons, but it's 2 elims for OG. Sits in 3rd place currently.
It's good news, but of course, it's 3 points in 1st place right now. That will change by the end of it. It's guaranteed that someone will get more than 3 points in this match. Chicken dinner worth more than that, of course. Up to 10 points. Remember, we haven't seen so far. Definitely new entrant here. Time, but crashing on the north side still. Oh, it's going to be Loops. Papa Supermassive. Nico is repositioned. This should be resible, but look at the off angles. Kamikaze is doing so much work for Papa Supermassive right now. He's the reason they've got 3 points, and he's keeping his team safe as well. They've got to be so grateful that he's on side and on form today, it seems.
Yeah, this is always the big point for Papa Supermassive, is the response time from the rest of the squad is so slick. I think that it's something that you've got to be very aware of when playing against that team, is if you find one knock, you're very prepared to immediately duck into cover, because they're so quick to accurately pinpoint where you are and what angles you're playing. So I think that's where Papa Supermassive definitely finds their strengths, is that you can never really catch that team off guard for some reason.
It's the hopefully superpower moving forwards for Supermassive. We'll see if they can keep that one going, though, because I think as time goes on, these teams will start to figure out their movements, figure out their holds, maybe identify weak points in that armor that they can try and exploit. So we'll see if that continues. Of course, it's still just match 1, and we're only 7 minutes into it, blank. So it's very much still an uncertain lobby at this stage. Teams are losing players, but these recalls can come through as well. So it's really not the end of the world at the moment. But they will start to shrink down those opportunities. The recall beacons disabling. They've still got a while left, Blank, but it's going to be a little bit of a stressor maybe for teams as we move into stage 2, stage 3. That's where they get very, very few in the circle, in good positions to go for those recall beacons.
You got there in the end. That's what I did, yeah. And I'm proud of
yeah. It happened.
I think when you look at Loose, right, actually some pretty big names overall, which have been around for a long time. I quite like this Loose roster. Your Ratto Boy, Victim, Rafina, Nielzada, a lot of players that played in amongst the rank and file of South America's, but overall I think that they've all leveled up a lot over the years, and this is a team that I'm quite excited to see play on the big stage. APG still roaming. They got a nice central start, able to shove Barbara Supermassive off from their position, but with this circle that shifts over towards Danching, I think APG was very glad they got in vehicles when they did. They started rotating out towards the east anyway, so they're already getting a move on in with the migration, so they may as well have been just on the west side of the circle as it popped. So I think that's a little bit lucky from APG, where they just randomly start rotating off towards that eastern side, but it's definitely beneficial for their future.
It's going to work out for them for the time being. GS still on a lot. Move it in the gauntlets. Maybe they'll have a chance here. Wizgod not quite able to connect for Orangutan. On their spray down, Orangutan currently playing on that southwest side. They do have a decent chunk of the ground in this circle, Blank, but is anyone going to try and take it from them? Are they going to have challenges? Is that split going to hold out from that south edge? Because you've got Rejects moving in. You've got plenty of others. You've got Gen G as well out to the west side of them. Actually might take one another on. Rejects maybe spotted there. They're definitely aware of each other's presence. But yeah, Orangutan's starting to open fire from that north side. High ground on the buildings that they have. It's going to be difficult to move. It's going to be difficult to make it safely.
Yeah, I think for OG, especially on that final day, although they didn't make it into top 7, there was definitely a change of pace for them, which they were trying to take a lot more fights. And they were losing those fights, but I was glad they were doing it, because I think they've all realised now that that 6 to 7 point strategy isn't going to cut it when it comes to top 3. So they're getting ahead of the problem early and trying to engage in more fights. And what's a better place to do that other than the gauntlet against some of the best 4v4 squads in the world? I still think they have potential in them, and genuinely this is the best. I think it's the best Indian team we've seen in a while. I think that there has been times in the past where India has played and they've given it their all, but this time it feels like OG actually does belong within the international format, which is great to see. But yeah, I think they do realise they need a little bit more aggression. And I think the change happened when Kara chased them down as a 2-man, and they were leaving as the 4th, and then they lost to the 2. I think at that point they probably looked back on that and was like, yeah, that can't happen again.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at what is needed, you said they're not looking at the 6 or 7s. It does push up. I mean, if you look at what happened in the gauntlet stage with 16 teams, third place was 141 points, which puts you at around a 7.8 average. So if you're getting 8 points a game, that's where you need to be sat. And bumping yourself up by a single point average is actually a very difficult task to be on the cards for you. So we'll see what our teams can do here. Circle just about to shut down. That's not going to be nice. On the south side, there is a recall beacon right next to it, but it's going to be very, very much out of reach if you can't even get past them. Rejects holding out in the building. The nades, the Molotovs flying. Oh, there's a little bit of an answer here. Maybe there's a chance. If the Molotov starts to burn down, Rejects actually now down to 2. The hold on the inside may be good, but Hologo now has to stand up. The last player alive for the team, and he is now into a 1 versus 1. This is dangerous. Reject looked like they had it in hand, but now it's all topsy-turvy. Apollo with the nade cooking around the side. And the nade does not find its mark, steps out wide, and Reject swept aside. A brilliant result for them. The Japanese squad will not make it further in Rondo.
I mean, that was a big test for Apollo. Practically all the big names on the team had gone down at that point, and not being able to finish up the job there. I think a lot of pressure on him in that scenario. Still, Coligo is a incredibly good player. Has been for many years. So kind of understandable he's able to hit the old swinging DBS shot. His alter ego, there is a lot of hope in this team, I would say, from Indonesia. I think that, you know, when I was looking through the player list, it's actually one of the teams that I looked at and was like, that's kind of a stacked roster. And again, I do think everyone talks about Rosemary on that squad, Krypton. I genuinely think their best player is Alva. A lot of people probably disagree with me on that fact, but I do think their best player is Alva. Overall, his off-angle, scouting, the value brings to the team. I think it's more than what Rosemary brings. I think Rosemary is flashy. I don't think he's the best player on the squad.
Wow, okay. Well, we'll have to keep an eye on that. See if those flashy players can earn more points, or if Alva's bread and butter basics are going to be more important to the alter ego setup right now. Looks like Goat have moved in. They've moved in towards the south side of the compound that OG hold. OG still as 4 on a 2-2 split. You can see they've got the 2 players down there, AKP and a Tanky on the low ground in the buildings. And then up top, they've got their other 2, WizGod and of course Aru there. Just finding the angles. Trying to keep that one secure with APG to the north side. The hilltop looking fairly solid. Falcons trying to move in from the north side. The blue zone is upon them, and it is getting to be a little bit more than a tickle. And they'll have to move a little bit faster, but there's not too many open spaces ahead of them. This wide flank may be needing to go to the west and challenge for a hilltop. Oh, it's dangerous on the approach here. A lot of open ground.
That being said, the fact the Falcons have 3 players is sort of impressive, no? I don't know how they've managed to do it. And they might just cut themselves a slice on this northeast side, which seems to be the case here, John. And they're just swinging straight through. And might even get central spot on the back of it.
No way. I don't think it's going to be super safe, so you can see they have to hit down in the dip there, around that roadside. A lot of hills with oversight, but they have a building to play with, Blank. It might not be much, but it's home for the Falcons for the time being, and maybe until the end of their match here. 9Z, after winning against Reject, got that recall on the south side, and now they're careening on through. This is a challenge towards APG's position. They will have to fight someone in that area, whether it's APG or if it's DK up to the top.
I mean, 9ZG will just send it through. APG's not really taking too many shots. They swing wide of him outside of the angles. Sightline's not quite there, but Azul's actually able to pick Raze out of the vehicle.
Going for the explosive arrow. Or hit with the Legolas. Oh, not going to connect on that one, not just yet, but Reyes down on the outside against APG's firing squad. They have turned all their attention up north. I think there's shots coming in through from OG as well. Across the way, you can see that on the minimap. Everybody wants a piece. The Wolves are crashing into D+ as well. In the meantime, they've pushed up from the south. They have to transition to the east. So the Wolves committing here. I mean, it's an interesting choice, but they want to clear out this threat first before moving out east. Nobu, repositioning far off to the north, might need to get in on this fight and find a high angle. You can see he's moving up to the tree line. They know there's a threat, they know there's danger, and they need the vehicle to get out of there. Chips, watch your feet. Drops a nade under himself and needs to get out of there. Moving his angle off as Coop steps out wide.
D+ is pretty much the same squad that won over in 2024. Now looking to send it slightly further here. You have the lineup versus the Wolves.
Plus there. Gen now. Riding in. I think the Wolves might not be long for it. Yeah, there's Saxon able to find Doran on the spray down. Nobu steps out wide. A challenge. He's good for the first. But there's the little hop out. Swift with it. But there's backup. Osal there as well. The DPs have been falling in the meantime. It's Gen G. I'm just going to put a stop on this fight. Wolves not going to have a good time. Neither are D+. These recall beacons not available anymore to them. They do not have that option. Osal trying to stay alive for the South Korean squad. In the meantime, with the blue zones there, he's running rings around them, but he just has to get out. There's no time. Needs to heal. What can he do? The blue zone's pushing. I don't think he's got anything to do here, as the Wolves might just be able to come out victorious.
Stage 4 was still able to get that first aid kit off. Tiamba off the distance, taking shots over towards GS. Nade through the top window might be the play here. The bottom one though instead. Igor will move off to the side. Full push out from him. Will pay off. Last grenade now for Osal. Versus Igor. Does it hit? Oh, just on target. The blue zone will finish the job for him.
Sorry, yeah, he doesn't get the point on that one though, with that blue zone final tick down. Alter Ego crashing in, trying to move in towards Team Secret, but they are being rebuffed immediately. Finally, an answer, an opener found for Alter Ego. Maybe they can move in on that north side. They're going to have to shift all the way south, and it is a deadly fight here. Papa Supermassive might chime in as third party. In fact, they do. They've already found a shot over towards Team Secret, and the rest of them go in. It's Alva. It's all up to him. Needs to pick his teammates up. He's definitely going to need to come up big and be the main component of the team for now, but Papa Supermassive want to slow them down. The nades are coming in, Blank, there's no time.
I think that over here is going to be a very difficult res, but if that first nade is terrible, like it is from Lost, then maybe he's able to get out of there. Snake's able to get off towards the side. Krypton likely to be flushed out at this point in time. Alva needs to provide some sort of assistance in this moment. Rosemary will hit the deck once again off a stray grenade, and Kamikaze starts to push upwards. A smoke goes down to try and keep the team under wraps. Alva has a lot to do.
Rosemary's up immediately back down. Alva still alive, just about on the last lifeline here as the thrusters are coming through on his teammates. He steps up for a little bit more. Alva still playing around the smoke, seemingly ethereal to Papa Supermassive, but surely they find him. It is a little bit of a game of cat and mouse there, but finally the snap shut of the trap is good and Alva falls.
I think Lost was as confused as we were watching Alva slowly crawl his way out from the smoke. I think he just basically begging for mercy at that point. Yeah, but still able to finish off Team Secret. Unfortunate for Alter Ego there. A lot of teams rotating in from that north side, able to get a lot done. But it will be now the boys from Papa Supermassive continuing to clear. Good nade from AKOP down towards Go. Kraken does go down for it. These some very long nades as well.
More shots, but there's an answer, a little knock in response. Aru, though, able to dish it out and keep them pressed up against the blue zone, Blank, which is moving currently. It'll be very slow on their side. They're on a very short side of this circle, but it will put pressure on. And these reses needed to come through. Dangerous. Oh, I thought that nade might have found something, but the bounce just a little bit short. Still 2 players to go to try and stay alive. I don't know if they can even cross for this res. AKOP, last nade into the skies. It looks like it might be on target. Is it long enough though? The bounce. Ooh, that deployable cover keeps them safe just a moment longer.
I mean, some very good shots. And Wiz got on the other side, taking down Tiamba. A-King's able to find the last player there from GS, but OG having quite a bit of control from this high ground. They are making quite a few enemies though in the process, and they will have to descend from here soon. But again, I think they've done enough in terms of casualties around the map that there's only a few sightlines looking over towards them, depending on how many smokes, what vehicles they have to work with. Could be quite a swift push down the hill.
Certainly could be. Chance to tumble on down. They have to choose it correctly. Falak under pressure now from the high ground as well. OG looking to try and make inroads now. Next circle comes through its south side a little bit, which means Papa Supermassive have to conclude their fight up here, but Loots have got a 1-for-1 trade right now on the knocks. Coutinho not finding that spray down over towards Nico as nades continue to tumble down. Rafinha has one more in the pocket. They're not connecting. The reses come through already. The nade just short of Kamikaze. He sidesteps it there. Papa Supermassive up to 10 eliminations now as they look for the flushes. Luke's not able to find that weakness as Ratto Boy himself is down. They step up for the fight. A shotgun around a tree trunk, but it will be good for only one because Kamikaze's still hot. Flies on in. The backline's brilliant. Kamikaze brutal as ever.
just unreal. Hey, I'm not gonna say anything about purpose of start. Kind of work. All right. 13 of them to start the day. Good. To be fair, this is like not even their best map. I think Rondo's kind of play it really slow. I think they're one of the few teams that doesn't go for 3-1 strat. They ball man and they just play it slow towards the end game and just much prefer to run like sweep third-party tactics. I really like it. I think the 3-1 strategy worked well. Meantime, you only see AK from a lineup here. It is free pickings here for OG in terms of elims across the way. Unfortunately, there's a shot that comes back though.
There's plenty of off angles taking a look out this way, and they didn't have enough pressure to keep this spraying. They will go to slow Ghosts down. That may we're looking for. Maybe not the elims just yet. I wonder if they're going to connect. We can go for these reses here. There's 3 outside. Force them into a bad position because there's only the one player, but he's still got a little bit of fight left in him, fortunately. 9Z across the way. Keep OG safe.
Yeah, that's rough. There is some horrible angles on that high ground. It felt like Go was winning that fight versus OG as well. The third party does come through though and will put an end to that. Papa Supermassive may have finally met their match here. They've been going from fight to fight. Now it's 9ZG, Kamikaze's down, as is Tron. Just lost last left alive here. And he's getting shot from multiple angles. Papa Supermassive will go down in 6. With 13 evens though, it's not a bad start to their day.
Points total, but now 9Z have started to rack up these tallies, and so have Inner Circle. 12 elims found for 9Z, and in Inner Circle, they've got 10 already. They've been able to pick up so many of these points blank. It's really these 3 teams, and nobody else that has been able to do the majority of the damage to the lobby so far. It's really beautiful to see. We'll see how much further they can go. At the moment, looks like everybody else vying for those spots, but it's APG in the center, and they're going to be the team to get rid of, to displace on the 2-2 split.
This is where I do get concerned slightly for OG, and you've seen them falter on these moments of the games before, where I think it's this next step that they struggle with a little bit. It's like, where do they go from here? What do they want to do? They want to sweep down towards that south side, that north side, sorry, because right now, like, the options are limited, and they're hoping for a south shift. I think they need to think about what they can do next. I mean, here, for instance, with Doc playing off all the way into distance, this is typically where you go for a Hail Mary. But I think they're just going to go for a top 3 off the back of this one.
OG playing as 3 needs to press that red line. And the circle might have to move first here. On a slightly faster side of the circle, they're all very, very close to it. It's only APG inside this one. 9Z. Ooh, they have to spot APG to take the shots out that way. OG have angles as well. There's the flash coming through. That's for Aru, adding another point to the OG tally. Top denied that point there. Nicely found.
Yeah, I mean, I think they are just going to go top 3 off the back of it. They are going to send one downwards in Aru, but sightlines are clear there coming through from top. Won't quite find the knock though. Nade's going to have to do the trick. Does find it with IQ in a circle.
Ooh, looking for the nades over the top. That is not where you want to be putting the nade there, but top does go down. The Molotov is good for it. A little underarm, sure, but he's not going to be able to find that knock on the second player here for 9Z. Dashes across and actually gets to safety behind the shack. Doc is going out into the open. This is a Hail Mary if I ever saw one. He's just hoping nobody's looking. Because actually, in a circle, it's moved over to OG. Doc might actually be able to get there. No way is he going to be able to do it. As in a circle, take on the forefront position for OG, but they only find the flush. They will not find a second. A tanky moving in, looking to try and take them down from the top rope, but no, the answer is good. The spray down is there. And APG, they do lose Doc finally, as he will not make that call. 9Z have descended. Goodness me, it's chaos on all fronts.
APG with a great nails over towards WizGod, so OG do get themselves the top 4 off the back one. Not quite the top 3 I think they were hoping for there from that position, but still a pretty decent start to the first game of the day. In a circle though, as 4 players, they're a little bit more silent and deadly this game. Now looking to take on APG with just the 3 there. Doc on a very aggressive angle, let's say, and an even more aggressive crawl. I think he's the only player that could make a crawl look aggressive. Then Circle shifts over towards the west. So there is now a little bit of difficulty here for IC. Even though they've got the 4 players on board, they are pushing out into open ground. You've got 9ZG over there. You've got APG who know where they are. And let's also just mention the fact that APG is in a top 3 scenario, by the way, which feels weird.
Yeah, a little bit foreign, a little bit alien to us at the moment. But in a circle, I mean, you've got 13 elims on 9Z, you've got 14 elims coming through from Inner Circle. APG on a measly 6 right now. Comparatively weak for the moment. Small. Little incremental approaches here. Looking at the utility, 12 smokes for APG.
I mean, again, it's just a testament to the strength of these players. The fact that Phalanx playing, and he's not feeling his best either, and still at this level is fairly incredible. And it's not like IC's had the most incredible path into this game either. They have just been brutalizing other players within this lobby. They sort of need to deal with the players from 9Z. You do have APGs also watching these angles, so if they find anything, again, for IC it's a question of vehicles and how they can make that wrap, because I think at this point in time, like, this actually is not a bad wrap to make for yourself. You've got to hope that APG misses these shots, and I think IC realizes that a lobby like this is very unlikely.
You hope that they realize it here. The zone next will close completely central blank, and it really doesn't favor anyone. I mean, the only team on an outside position at the moment are Inner Circle, so maybe that will help them out. APG, I mean, they need to get out of there as well, but they do have vehicles potentially stowed away in and amongst those buildings that they could hop into. The nades there starting to fly. Going long, quite on target.
I see set of craters. I think that's all they can do. I think this is a smart play, especially here on Rondo, the destructible terrain. That's what they're going to go for. Okay.
At the moment, though, that smoke train, those huge number of smokes, I think that's 10 smokes just been invested by APG to be able to stretch out wide, move that vehicle into one of those craters. A first knock onto Noki is good, but it's now 9Z who are eating the majority of lead right now. As they crawl on forwards, they don't have anywhere to go. They are probably in the worst position. A downhill approach out the back of a building. It's a tough time. Noki is there, but you can't stand up. You just can't go for that res. And another nade over the top from APG. They have got 3 more remaining. One's already in the sky.
There's Phalanx and T24 now. Phalanx gonna make the big crawl. T24 holds his angle. Now into a 2v2 here for APG versus IC.
Last nade loose for top. I think that's the last one that's in the pocket potentially. Or maybe they got one more. No, that is it, but it connects. And that's huge. It stops them from getting any more. But Phalanx with an answer. He's standing tall. And now top behind a tree trunk. Phalanx has the inside track here on the circle. Needs to stay strong for his team now more than ever. Top stands up. And the challenge is good. It is Phalanx to be able to fell the final beast in their way. APG will not get it. It is Inner Circle, the pride of Pakistan, standing strong.
Craters on the ground, and what a meteoric entrance from IC during this game. They had very limited options, but worked with what they had. The nades out front to get the craters to hold on for just a little while longer. Those nades were insane, and the fact that Phalanx to finish it off there, I mean, imagine what this guy is like on his good days.
Absolutely insane. My goodness me, what a close down on the day. Sorry, close down the game, rather. A lot of flashy plays throughout the majority of that match as well. Black Papa Supermassive doing big stuff.
Yeah, I mean, Papa Supermassive get themselves a bunch of Elim points. APG actually towards the top 3, which is quite nice to see, getting second place. Hopefully a little more of that, please. But in the meantime, I've got to hear what the guys in the desk had to say about that game.
and Inner Circle win the first match of Group Green, and they did it in style, Max. Hey, if Phallic wasn't feeling too good going into today, I bet you he's feeling real good right now. That nade onto Zol and then wins the 1v1. I mean, what more could you ask for?
No illness can take down Phallic. No team can take down Phallic. He is the demon here from Pakistan. He dominates on the battlegrounds, and he takes home the Rondo win as a solo at the end. So many eliminations. The nade were on point. The transitions were on point. And Ichura, you have to say, this is also off the back of winning the hot drop in Neox Factory versus Falcons. What is going on? This is the best start ever.
It's crazy.
I think you were muted then, Ichiro.
Right.
You say that again. Just say how excited you are. Do it.
I'm very excited. I love them. Yay! I don't know if you can hear it.
Thank you. Good
Max
job.
Man impression, 10 out of 10. I think everybody's busting out a Max Man impression right now because they are so excited that you did not pick this team because they're doing so good, Max.
You know what? I'm never going to pick Inner Circle ever again. They have a start like this, a game like this. Beautiful. But the thing is, we're talking about Phallic. Look at the stats across the board. T24, 4 eliminations, almost 1,000 damage. IQ, the IGL of the team, gets 5 elims, almost 600 damage done. And look at especially how much damage they took right now, Niptura. Everyone took a beating, but they just kept coming back stronger and stronger and stronger. And especially those rotations on the eastern side, sweeping all of those eastern teams were a thing of absolute beauty this match. Loved it from start to finish.
It was so nice, and what I love as well is how methodical it was. They didn't rush around, go crazy, just get all the third parties. They really took their time with it. They paced themselves, they read the lobby, they understood who was where, what was going on, and they were really able to get the perfect timing based off that. So love how they've come in here. They're looking very relaxed. They look like, you know, they know what they're doing. They're not really thinking they're, you know, the newcomers anymore. They've been here, they've been doing so well all season, and now it's like, yeah, we're here, we're ready to own the lobby, and that's exactly what they did.
Oh, unbelievable start. You know, another team that had a great, actually, a super massive start, Max Man, right? Was Papara. Are you kidding me? Tons of eliminations here off the rip.
I'd even say a Papara super massive start right here, coming up with Papara super massive plays. I mean, really good early game strategy, which is, you know, in Rondo you have these big stone pillars that you can go for. You can actually climb them with a buggy. They send a scout up there, and they had perfect oversight on everything and anything happening in the mid to later stages of these circles, which then you can see here, for example, this fight between Ultra Ego and Team Secret in the replays. They spotted that fight instantly, halted like, well, that's an easy not only entry point in the circle, but also 3 points. And they did take a bit of time to find Alba in that smoke for sure, but eventually they do find it, and they get themselves a massive double-digit elimination game. I was doubtful. I mean, if you're in our tier list, we put them in no way, Jose. They're not qualifying, but you know what? All the Turkish teams are dominating outside of Regnum, which is a bit weird.
Oh, man, that was absolutely crazy. As a matter of fact, I think Alamo from Alter Ego is going to need some therapy after that one. He was just screaming in that smoke, just trying to survive, but he wasn't able to. But look at this score. I mean, Inner Circle, 28 points off the rip here, Niptura.
Oh my goodness me. I mean, I think that's definitely so far the biggest opening game of any day so far that we've had, by far. 28 points is insane. And we know Rondo is the map where you can put up those crazy numbers, right? But 18 eliminations, even for Rondo, is pretty huge. And you're looking at the gap, like a 10-point gap between first and second place, right? 9Z, only 18 points. That's still an epic game, but just totally eclipsed by Inner Circle here. And then of course we're gonna get four teams without any points whatsoever, because I see they were just taking all of them.
Insert a womp sound cue right now. But actually, we were talking about Papara Superman. Well, are we surprised?
Are we surprised?
Wait, guys, impression of like the biggest surprise, like just fake is like, oh, no way! No way!
What?
Had
no way! What?
Yeah, it does make sense. But we were talking about Papara Supermassive Blaze. I also do want to highlight like 90 Globen. They also got, what was it, 13 eliminations this game. Very similar playstyle to Papara Supermassive Blade, but instead of sweeping the northeast, they were sweeping the northwest, using that high ground to their full potential to make sure they can clear that space and get a ton of eliminations in the process. But top, that's a ton of damage. And those nades in particular, Nitro, we saw onto Inner Circle. That could have almost won them the game, but unfortunately, as we saw, Falok was able to tank those nades so damn effectively.
Crazy work coming in from them. And I love when at the end of a game comes to a nade off. Both those nades were equally good, and they were just trying to out-nade each other. They just couldn't do it, man. They just couldn't do it. They were equally good. It was fantastic. What a game. So much fun.
Dude, there's so much to talk about. I mean, literally. I mean, one thing we were talking about in the chat was just like, now this is a global championship star right here. I mean, it was just a wreck from the beginning. Teams were just going crazy. As a matter of fact, we saw some cool tech, right? We saw Osul. He was actually tanking that blue zone for a while. I bet you a lot of you guys were wondering why. That's because he had that backpack on, Max, right? That worked out good for him.
Yeah, I had that light bulb moment. I was like, wait, he's gonna die. He's like, oh no, he's got the backpack that allows him to tank the blue zone. So actually, yeah, if you use that to your advantage, you can kind of trick some enemies and like, why he's not leaving the blue zone. Actually, he has the special backpacks. He can stay there for an extra maybe 30 seconds to a minute longer, depending on what kind of resources he has. So very good use of that utility. But Niptura, I want to go on to another thing that was used in this game really efficiently by none other than Orangutan. Good emergency cover flares going down to APG. That was really well executed.
Right? Yeah, some really well played stuff. It made sure that APG were not able to use the angles afforded to them. And when you're in a compound for APG, you know, those angles are pretty limited. You're only limited by what the building can give, you know, enough cover for. So really nice for them to be able to block those angles. And so Orangutan, very nice scouting, or rather, like, what's the word? God darn it, I'm gone. No, but like, it's really nice for them to be able to block that and see that and be proactive with that. There we go.
Yeah, I mean, you also like their position right, Nitro, because they were scouting the southern side playing that road that I think you were quite keen about. You're very passionate, like, that's a good play. Wow.
It's a good one. Yeah, that particular position in the map has a massive ridge and then this great roadside, but that's also on a cliff. So that road is super protected from other angles unless you're on the other top of the other side of that hillside, other side of the valley, right? But for the most part, most angles you can't see there. So really nice use of those angles and being very aware of where the other teams are to use that effectively. I love that.
Yeah, you had OG right there on the top of that road. You had Goat about to creep up on them, and OG was in serious trouble, but then 9Z from all the way on the other side was just like, nah, we're not dealing with none of that mess, and they help out OG at the end. By the way, I mean, I love OG's start, right? When it came to the gauntlet, they had a great day one, right? They were in a great position here. Unfortunately, they weren't able to make it, you know, into those grand finals during the gauntlet. But how do you think about their start here, Max, man? Do you think it's pretty typical, or do you think that we're going to have a little bit of trouble going on?
I think this is definitely way better than what we saw in the gauntlet stage, because they were playing in those fights closely, they were tightly packed, which is what I wanted to see. In the gauntlet, unfortunately, they would go for these weird splits and just, it wouldn't quite work for them. They were playing a little bit too, trying to play too smart, and unfortunately in a lobby like this, sometimes you just got to shoot people in the face, Hot Jukes. And here, it's what they did. Very happy with Orangutan, and hopefully they can do that in the other maps in particular. But I want to take the conversation here away from Orangutan, because we kind of said a lot of great things about them, which is really good to do on a Rondo in particular. APG here, Niptura, in the center, pretty much phase 2, phase 3. Everyone fighting, shooting over APG, and they're just big chilling the entire time and easily getting into the late game, right?
Right? Yeah, that was such a nice, I think that because everybody knows it's true. Coming into group stage, into group green, and you're going, it's going to be tough for them, but for them to be able to have such a good game, to rack up quite a few eliminations, they were able to actually have that really good start to the group stage and go, oh, okay, actually, we're doing okay, this is fine, you know, it's not tough from the beginning, they've got something now to work on, they've got a foundation built, that they can just start climbing from there, because, yeah, teamwork was really nice for them, you know, Doc with his nades, we finally saw a Doc nade come through. We were really missing that from him, and so it's really nice to see that maybe now we have just a better springboard for them.
But I do have a question now looking at APG. GSG and then this group, unfortunately for them, are we going to have a similar clash happening in military base? Is that going to keep going down? Because that was definitely hurtful. Jafar in particular was just a thorn in the side of this team. So are they going to commit to it once more, or are maybe GSG going to be looking for another option and finally give APG a little bit more breathing space.
I hope they give them breathing space. This is not the time to mess about, guys. You know, Gauntlet, no one was getting eliminated, right? But the stakes are just so much more now in the group stage. You might go home completely, and even if you don't, is very few chance here you're actually going to go to top 3. So you've got to play your best game here.
Yep, top 3 is what's going to get you straight to the grand finals. Anything less is going to be a hard time. Let's go ahead and take it on to our first Aaron Gale match to John Allen and Blake.
It is time for Erangel. We had a crazy close down from Falak in those final moments there for Inner Circle, and a lot of points earned for the teams now at the top of the tables, or at least 4 now, because there are plenty more matches left to play. 18 matches total in Group Green, and we will be in and on to the second of them right now.
Rondo is always this huge injection of points right at the start of the day. I mean, getting almost 30 points straight away is a massive deal, especially on your first match. Gives you a huge buffer to work with. And with the goal being top 3, getting those 30 points almost immediately is such a massive benefit for you going forward. So I think for Inner Circle, this will be a very pleasing result for them. We did get to see some other teams performing extremely well, quite like OG's position on the south side. Their transition didn't quite work out the way they wanted it to, unfortunately for them. Wolves also going down fairly early there, John, which was a little bit unideal. GS heading over towards Savannah. You got APG actually starting in Kameshki right now. And Team Secret stopping over towards Box Compound. D Plus was a little bit disappointing in the last game. I think it's pretty much the same roster, but weren't able to hold out walls as comfortably as possible. Alter Ego currently playing off against Papra Supermassive. We're just waiting. But it'll be here soon. Don't worry. APG getting 15 points. Pretty decent. Pretty decent indeed.
The same as they were before. It is plenty dangerous. Rosemary, look for the spray down. We'll be able to find it. Snakes in the vehicle over the top. And we will be able to crash on it.
I mean, for Alter Ego, it was a very game for them last time around. I think that overall what they ran into was not the famous front flip, but was instead just a case of running out of gas. And they got third party so many times where quite a few teams over on that north side. The amount of teams that were able to come down was just significant.
Yeah, it's not always easy. It's not always easy. APG right now, fresh off a second place. We caught up with them on the stage.
Welcome back to a quick report with the 7WG. This time I'm joined by APG. Doc, great start here to Group Green. What was the major change that you guys made from the Gauntlet to Group Green?
За Doc. Өнөөдрийн тоглолтод үнэхээр амжилттай ажиллаж байна. Танай багийн хувьд Gauntlet Stages Group Green рүү ямар хутуу өөрчлөлт гаргаж болж ирвэ?
Манай Gauntlet дээр гаргасан алдаануудаа хоорондоо сайн ярилцаад алдаануудаа засаад ингээд ингэж орж ирсэн. Алдаануудаа юу сайн.
For our team, from the Gauntlet stage, we discussed about the mistakes that happened during that time, and we try to focus on how to fix that. And that was the change, Adele.
Hopefully we'll see less drops. One thing we did see in this last match, you guys were given the circle. You were able to take advantage, but I need to go into circle 6 because you guys were doing a 3-1 split and the dodge ain't happening. Sir, you were far away from your squad. Going into circle 7, what made you not want to return back to your squad?
За, саяны тоглолтын дээр танай багийн хувьд 6 дугаар тойрог дээр 3-1 гэсэн салтай байсан бол 7 дугаар
хэрэгтэй байрлал гэж үзсэн. Одоо 3 нэрээ харуулж байгаа хангалттай алдчих байх гэж бодсон. Одоо ер нь алдаа болчлоо. Логик ингэж бодсон одоо ер нь алдаа болчлоо. Logic ингэж ядаагүй. Тийм л.
From my perspective, I thought it was the advantageous point in that circle, and that's what made me to not want to go back. And I wanted to have my 3-player Overwatch over, and I thought we could come over from that, but it was my mistake from that end.
Well, regardless, I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to be happening. Hopefully less of the docketing happening. Thank you so much. Back to you guys. You guys.
Thanks for that little insight there into APG. We are hopefully going to see them do a little bit more over the course of this group green that we saw from them in the gauntlet stages. They do need to repair what's going on because it's It wasn't great over in the gauntlet. Hopefully they can keep this one going because they've started off well. It's just a question of keeping that momentum.
I think for Doc to admit wrongdoing is a pretty huge marker in the APG timeline. That doesn't happen very often, if at all, in fact. So great news for APG. And again, I think it comes back to what we were talking about in the gauntlet. It felt much more like 4 very, very good players playing separately as opposed to 4 insane players playing together. So hopefully we'll see more of that here. I think that Gauntlet was always meant to be a bit of an ego check anyway, and I think that if anything, this is very useful to APG going forward. And they get more practice. I actually think that APG is one of the few teams that actually more practice on a global stage is going to be useful to them, because I think they're so used to just dominating in their own region that this is a good place to re-humble themselves.
With Gen G around the corner, trying to find the best place to take the fight. You see Batten off in the distance, maybe a little bit too slow. The join opener as Coops goes down and immediately is flushed. Finally, Batten able to stand up, find an off angle, and actually gets a flush in response. An answer is found, but they are clashing themselves with the Falcons. Moving over from that east side, you can see in the foothills of Everest, they're taking those shots up. And it is getting a bit mucky in the foothills of Everest on this northwest side circle. Seems to have calmed down slightly on the inside of this compound boat. I think Igor just wants to get out of here as safely as possible, but that might not be possible. Slams a reverse and an aid underneath him. Quick, able to detonate him from underneath. Sends him sky high, and that should be another flush coming through. Wolves most likely down to 2.
I think Wolves are struggling in a big way. We want, for them, this has to be top 3, but Group Green is unbelievably stacked in terms of players right now, John. I think the way the Wolves played in the Gauntlet, they were sort of scraping by towards that top 7. And it's not the case here. They need to put a little bit more work in. I think it's the most unfortunate thing for Wolves right now is I think they're struggling to win in the 4v4s. And that is very, very unhelpful towards your end of point scoring, because I think if you want to start earning those big points, you need to be able to win 1 or 2 4v4s during the match. The most crucial one being that 10 to 15 minutes big fight to get you into a stronger position in that late game.
Ooh. Okay. We thought it was character growth, but maybe not. He's just taken a knock to himself, crashed into a buggy. I imagine he got a shot sent his way, and it was the final tick of damage that was from slamming into that rock. Buggy rolling back in a circle. Want to try and do it again, take down APG, but hang on a minute, who's that? Get out of there, Jafar. GS trying to rally on in. APG, they've already closed ranks. There's no way that he's getting away with that one. GS maybe want to continue this against Inner Circle, but they've actually found the opener to IQ.
Jafar was like some kind of tourist in that situation. Hi guys, wait, sorry, I didn't mean to be here. I apologize. But yeah, big shift on the circle. They're down towards that south side. Currently favors towards Tiamba, Reject. 2 players from Wolves, I guess, but Tiamba currently taking a lot of damage. Goodness me, Bond, you are lucky on that one. But Tiamba now down to just 1 player in Milu across the way, and he goes down. Shortly afterwards. Has not been great for Tiamba, honestly.
No, certainly not this match. Able to take a really important position and stay alive as 4 blank. That's a really big boon for them. The question is, can they hold it? But right now they're fairly split. They're 3-1. The Falcons, they're already poking their noses in. Avalo looking to try and scout, and somehow he's evading all of those spray downs. The vehicle must be eating a lot of damage on that one, so you imagine the bonnet is smoking.
Apparently not able to quite hit those shots. I mean, the Falcons starting at Pachinki is actually a really good result for them, especially with the circle the way it was. I think they were sort of worried about this one heading towards that north side, in which case that would have been a difficult, but heading just over towards the west of them here, it's a nice, easy, clean rotate over towards that western side, out looking on the field.
9Z on the north side, trying to rotate over that Yaz bridge and decided to go north of the river rather than approach from the south side, which is an interesting choice now. Maybe looking for a wide wrap, or are they going to try and send through Soccer? I'm not too sure what 9Z's plan here is. I mean, APG, they're looking to cut across and go back the way that 9Z just came from.
It's not easy. You got IC behind you as well right now for APG, who are tailing. Like you say, you got 9Z as well in front. I think at this point in time, it's not a terrible decision coming through from APG just to kind of take a pit stop here, rest and wait it out. It's almost hilarious how open the northwest side of the circle is. No one's really going for it. I do think for APG, it would not be a bad idea to just pass over Box Compound Bridge there, down towards the south side of Ruins, pick up one of the compounds on that side. Instead, they're going to try and go over Rozhok Bridge, make it work that way. Everyone's got the same idea, though.
It is going to be a tough approach from the northeast side. I mean, 9Z, they went back across the river, moving now past school. You can see them trying to find their way in. Stage 2, still survivable as the circle. Stage 3 hurts a little bit more. It's a hard west shift. Blank, this is good for Team Secret out on that west edge. You've got Gen G as well in that central area. Loops might have a really good time getting to a very important compound set if they can move fast enough.
For Team Secret, I would say for Team Secret, the options are a little bit limited, honestly. But then they have to move through a lot of open ground, and most of the most prominent positions are already picked up. For D+, they sort of go for something that I wanted APG to go for, which is one of those free compounds on that north side. No one's really playing around that area, so it's a ton of really useful ground to hold.
Yeah, it's a lot of open area in these Gacta fields. Inner Circle, they were behind APG, they're now moving more down the eastern side, still in the blue zone, looking to try and peel through this one a little bit more, prop themselves up on that front. Gen G moving over to some of these compounds, GS as well. Everybody looking to just find anything that can keep them safe in this next zone, scouting out where the best place to do that is.
I mean, for GS, this is like one of the few options left remaining. Is the Wizard Tower on the southwest side. It is not going to help them in the long run, but you got to go for something. Go will pick out Doc from the vehicle. Was straggling slightly behind the rest of the squad, so unfortunately was the target. But for APG, getting towards Chopsticks as a 3-man from the position they were in, this is not a terrible result for them. I think they would have much rather have made here as a 4 because holding this is a little bit difficult when you start to lose members. But again, this is the type of position that could keep you alive for quite a while.
I think with Goats in the position that they are, just out to the northeast of that chopstick, they do have a lot of control over the ridge line that sits to the north of that chopstick bunker, which is the major danger for teams holding in that area, right? But if you've got a team playing in the position that Goats is, that ridge line to the north becomes very, very tricky to play. It's in later circles where it starts to come back to bite you, but APG have at least 3 circles left in that spot, I think fairly securely, unless there's a mad crash onto their position. 9Z, they move down all the way. They've gone for a wide swing on the south of the circle blank. They've moved from that northeast side, Nigasnaya. We saw them going back and forth with APG, and now they're on the southwest of the entire thing. They're going to be entering from that west edge.
Yeah, I don't think I'm a huge fan of this play. It looks funky, it looks flashy, but I don't think it's massively useful to them because I don't know what their game plan is over the next 5 minutes, if that makes sense. Like, where do they go from here? You want to wrap through the fields? You want to take north compound? Maybe that works, but I mean, now it definitely works. Now it definitely works.
Alter Ego are gonna get there first. Surely Alter Ego make it to that compound before 9Z, with GS hounding them a little bit as well. I mean, where do you go? It looks like they're turning around, maybe? That's a bit of confusion for 9Z. I think that's safe to say from everything we've seen from them so far. They don't quite know what they're trying to go for. A rotate from the Falcons. Okay, sending out straight into the open. This is through everybody in the open Gacta field. And Redox is the punishment. But they will be spotted, sprayed down. But the rest of them, are they? No way. 3 of them make it to across the way, and Loop's not going to hold them on the approach. And with 3 players, they can play this split. They can play this north side, not safely, but a little bit more safely than going in a mad dash out the open with 7 teams looking your way.
It is so amusing me right now that South Everest compound still not taken. I think the assumption from all teams that this is absolutely got players in it. But literally everyone on that north side made the wrap through Rozo. Which is very confusing to me. And again, this is one of the situations with APG where, in my mind, if you see 2 players there and wrapping back towards the west, I don't want to wrap through that area because I know it's already very clogged. There's only limited positions on that side. There was several positions on the north that were still free and available to play. For Rosemary, he's doing his best job to try and look if that's taken or not. Papra Supermassive looks like they're just going to hit the west side. They also think it's taken. It's so funny that no one knows this is free.
It is absolutely crazy, right? OG as well, they moved in from that northeast side. They actually decided to crash onto this compound instead of going further and going to this next one. The fact that the last player from Wolves might be the only one in that compound is going to get a little bit crazy because Doran is a little bit close to it right now. OG lost a player on the approach. That was to Rosemary on the off angle. Oh no, maybe GS are going to be able to take it as they crash on into the tree. Doran does fall down. Are they going to go across the road though? You just don't think they're going to do it.
No, I mean, they're scared. They're scared. There's no one in these buildings. GS thinks there's oversight from that position. Now IC also thinks there's oversight from that position. There's no one there. There is no one there. This is the classic international lobby of assumption that everyone else is good, right? And everyone else is probably taking the strong spots. This wouldn't happen in, tier 3 tournaments, just because people would crash that spot. And there'd be no one in it, and they'd be fine.
I think Alter Ego are going to figure it out sooner or later. OG having a little bit of back and forth with D+ right now. There is a lot of knocks on side, and it's all up to WizGod. Chips in a 1v1 against WizGod for OG. D+'s players are starting to fall. The nade doesn't connect. A pump action around the side. One shot's all it takes. Chips goes wide again, but it's going to come in through the window there. It's Rosemary who's able to shut down that fight. And now Alter Ego, they're taking this east compound. Goodness me. All right. They want the evenings, I guess.
Oh, Alter Ego's going to clear everything before they clear the west. And to be fair, this actually does become quite a strong position. If they can grab this, I think they'd prefer to have it over the western compound. But it's there for the taking, or I see. If they want it, they can have it. But yeah, for Alter Ego, good scouting. I mean, they remained proactive that entire time. They didn't just sit over towards Everest. They were consistently sending scouts out in vehicles. Team Secret takes a hell of a nade from 9Z.
They get naded from two fronts here with Reject on the foothills as well. Another nade in, does the damage, doesn't stop the revive there, and does manage to get Team Secret back up to 4. The heals need to come through, and Reject want to move. The zone is coming in 5 seconds. They know they can't conclude this fast enough, so they'll try and get out of there instead. Team Secret maybe more preoccupied to the north and fold back towards Ragey, lap back around him with the covering fire, but they still have to move. They still have to get going, and there really isn't too many options now.
I really do want to just take a quick look at the circle because it's basically Alter Ego and IC win. Finally, 9Z making a move, and they're like, wait, there's no one here? What? But yeah, so they'll pick up Northwest. Oh yeah, I mean, IC don't quite get that luxury, but I think they're happy just to pick up points on the outside as teams attempt to maneuver their way in. Nades pouring down, and Divine walks straight into one.
That is unfavorable there. Coming through for Reject. They are in the zone. The goats are pushing in, and there's the nade to find the flush over towards Divine. Sarah also gets spotted. That's Loops chiming in as well. They want a piece of the pie, taking shots, getting nades in. Goat want a point. They want to add it to the tally. Scrap on the northwest side. Finally, more than one team's going in. It's Team Secret who are going to clash on that northwest compound. And maybe Papa Supermassive doing something. They're heading over towards Alter Ego. In the meantime, still playing 2-2 split at the moment. It looks like Crypto and Rosemary on the north side, up towards Everest still.
I mean, Alter Ego have a lovely split right now. I actually really enjoy this one. They know the amount of area is clear in this position, so they set up this line where they're still taking advantage of the high ground up towards Everest whilst they have a safety anchor on the eastern side. I think this is really smart. A lot of times players who take that position on the eastern side, they send all 4 players there, and then the game gets away from you because you don't get enough done and you're hoping the circle's going to come your way, and it's a free win off the back of that. APG though, with a big push over towards IC. It's not happening though.
Oh, very close to getting knocked there. Need to stay alive. Falak hits the deck. Nades are going to start to come on through, but APG's already gone. These reses need to be fast. IQ wants to get back to his feet, get that healing on, because from the south side, you've got Loops to worry about. And you can imagine they've heard this fight. They know that there is a team there. Maybe they're a little bit weak. They've seen the knocks on the feed. 9Z unlikely to push south. But I think there might just be enough. It's Alter Ego, though, who chime in. I think that's 2 knocks down there now. IQ not back up, which means that outpost is completely down. Only 2 players alive, and Loops are going to start to put their tendrils over.
Another good shot. That's from Alter Ego once again on the high ground. It looked like it came from Ratto Boy, but it was Alter Ego. And look at this. This is just such well set up from Alter Ego. I think this is a textbook game from AE over towards this eastern side of the map. And it's not a lot of times that this circle actually moves towards this compound and teams get to take full advantage of it. But most teams, like I said, would just play the 2-2 split inside this building. I've loved the way this game is played out from Alter Ego. I think they absolutely do deserve to win off this. We'll see if they can close it out. But up until this point, it has been fantastically played.
Rosemary nade over towards Nico, and he's going to be able to land it. One and done. Sure, Flashy might not be all substance, but it certainly looks good on camera. And now it's in a circle, moving on in. I think it's just Balak with a nade cooking. Trying to move past, crawling through the smoke, playing hide and seek. And drops a nade down towards one of them. And it's Ratto Boy now out on the flank. Don't know if they know where that nade came from. He steps up for another. Balak has no HP, but he's playing like he's got a full bar right now. Ratto Boy has got a Rafinha to play off against on the off angle, but Falak's up to the rock. He's up high, and he looks for another. He's now got one more player to deal with. It's all up to him, and he won't quite be able to go the distance, but there's a reason that Falak is praised like he is.
You're crazy. Steps up on Lion's Rock and rolls with the DBS. That is some unbelievable maneuvers. It really is now down to 9Z as well as Alter Ego in this endgame, but goodness me, Falak is really the main character of the lobby at the moment.
Wow. Wow. He is looking so hot right now. Taking down almost the entirety of loops with a chance and with like no HP as well. From the beginning of that 1v4, he has like 15 HP.
Yeah, those were actually some hot jukes coming through from Valak. Yeah, very well done. Fortunately, Alter Ego will take a knock there, which is kind of a big deal to go in the position. I think at this point in time, this is where you start to fold back slightly. Oliver consistently is trying to get that information, but again, you've lost a player in your back line. That's one of your backstop anchors. Now life gets a little bit more difficult for you. With 9Z having 4 players, bit of a big deal. You have to now hope the circle moves away from this roadside where you can take advantage of the buildings.
Interesting. 12 elims found for Alter Ego here. I mean, Inner Circle, they went down just there, we saw, but they got 8 elims on the match blank. So really strong results coming through. Alter Ego looking to try and keep this one under control, however.
Yeah, I mean,
what can Niza do with the numbers?
It definitely was a mistake there coming through from Alter Egos. I think that they should have started to fold back a lot earlier. And again, still taking these aggressive angles is quite... It's a little bit uninformed of where the circle is at this point in time. For Alter Ego, like, look at this. They could have folded back here way earlier, been as a 4-man, and just played out this game. They don't need more eliminations at this point. You can just let the game play out slowly. You know there's a 4-man squad on your north side. That's your main prerogative now. That's who you need to be focused on.
Luke, we're going to try and clear out the fields, and he will be able to connect it. Just as he pops the reload, Quick goes down. 3 teams now remain. Everybody's going to know where this last player from Luke's is now as well. He's got to crawl forwards. Gonna have to wait for 9Z to make that first move, but has got some rock cover and might actually be able to get a decent amount closer to this compound. Rosemary, you imagine, going to be looking out for him, but 9Z, the major danger for them on the North Crash.
Yeah, they need like an initial knock as they push through. This smoke train looks pretty good so far and super necessary for them. I appreciate they try and take 2 angles here from Alter Ego, but yeah, they need to get 1 knock at least.
Up to it. I mean, this is an angle that Rattoboy could actually have an impact on as well. The approach here, he's going to see them. He's going to see all of this unfolding. As soon as they start to go for the fight, he's just going to hope that they don't look out his way. He's taking his opportunity to move up to the next drop. Has to go further, though. That's not in the zone. Needs to step further forwards than this. And that is where it's going to get really dangerous. People are going to figure it out. Yeah, you can see they're taking a look out to the field. He's got a couple more seconds to play around with. Alter Ego making moves in the meantime. That might draw the 9Z attention.
I'd be very interested to see the end game like travel diagram for 9Z because they've been all over the place. But it's been a pretty damn good game for them so far, honestly. I think the main thing that's impressive here in this endgame is just the smoke usage. And very quickly set up. As soon as they hit this building as well, there was smokes laid down to try and cover them off. They are kind of low on them. Good shot from Rosemary. Immediately to back off, and it's not the players he was looking for.
He's got 3 nades in that position for Rosemary. Needs to keep it low. 9Z. Not going to be able to flex out just yet. They do have some vehicles to play around with, but with Rosemary on the side swipe, getting up that ridge line makes so much harder. Back towards the further high ground, get that crate as well. Might be dangerous. Snake's though stepping forwards, getting very close to things.
Good damage so far, a little bit chip on both sides. Rosemary is a key figure in this endgame. Up to 8 elims so far this game, doing a fantastic job, and it's a singular corridor almost in terms of the route that 9Z needs to take. Alter Ego, they've got 6 nades. They do need to be on target here. They are close enough for them.
Cooking that nade. Ooh, just a bit short on the health. Does get on target, but has to back off, and that's going to allow Snake to go for the heal here. 4 nades remain. Alva moving up. They're putting a lot of pressure forwards on this one, with Rosemary on the outside. 9Z, I think you go up north. You go around the edge of that building, try and sweep the compound through on that side. Rosemary, sightline isolated, but he's up onto the rooftops now, playing further back. As Alva looks to hold. 9Z, they are moving up to that north side and into the buildings, but the zone goes away from them. It's into the middle that it will fall, and that is on the outside, down the ridge in the open ground.
Yeah, Rosemary double back. There's not a lot of nades left available now for Alter Ego, and they really did need them in these last moments, and now it comes down to gun skill. Colligo finding Rosemary, which was the backstop, which leaves us into a 2v4. A very unlikely win coming now through from Alter Ego.
They got so much done, but it's 9Z who are able to move on through. Snake's nade, and it's all up to Alva. A 1v4, and there's not a chance he shuts that one down. It's 9Z with a big chicken dinner there. It looked wild, looked chaotic at the start of that match for them, Blank. They had a really strange approach to the circle, but it seems like everyone else was just as confused as we were, because nobody could handle it.
I think when you look at Alter Ego, I think there's a little bit of overexcitement that comes through from their squad right towards the end game. I think they played it pretty perfectly up until their engagement between them and 9Z. I think they're still happy with the way that game went. I think there's definitely discussions going on about how they should have played it. But for 9Z, yeah, I mean, very, very cool rotates this game. There was a little bit of confusion towards that mid game though. But in terms of the gun skill so far, it looks very good from 9Z.
Yeah, they managed to win out those trades when they needed to. The nades looking all right there. That's a great pickup for them. That position that they held on that high ground, it did indeed work out. Inner circle, a very flashy play from Falak. I'm sure that will be going into the show reel, and they'll be having a good time of it as well.
I think for... Let's head over back to the analysts. Let's see what they said about that game when 9Z's crazy rotates.
And it's 9Z bringing some of that Latino heat to the group stage here. It's Group Green, and this team has had such a crazy start. Rondo, 13 eliminations, and now they get that chicken dinner here in this match, Max Man. And by the way, one of my favorite things happened, right? Where the teams are all so good that they think without a doubt, this huge compound, it's gotta be taken, right? There's no way it's wide open, Max Man.
They're like, no, we're not even going to scout. We just know it's taken. But in fact,
it's gotta be. It's gotta be.
And I'm sure 9Z got in there. We're like, wait, we don't have to fight for free? That's the best deal of the century. Hell yes. And then they end up taking some amazing clutches versus the players of Alter Ego. The roof angles were really good, Niptura, but they kept getting punished and over peaking. And 9Z Global just found that kink in the armor and instantly abused that in their favor to not only just get the win, but get a ton of eliminations in the process.
Yeah, I really had Alter Ego slated to win that, right? Because they did have that third party against OG and D+. That gave them full control of the compound, full control of the north and the western side of zone, and then they started splitting to maintain that control. I loved that. But it seemed like they regrouped way too early for my liking, and that allowed 9Z that controlling angle onto those roofs onto the north side. And so from there, 9Z were able to just limit Alter Ego completely and eventually overrun them for the win. So very nicely played and really good kind of team reading there from 9Z.
Man, by the way, I'm shocked that OG made the push onto D+ Kia Max. I mean, they were looking so well set. Literally, once I saw the zone go to that position,
Top 5.
Compound's taken for sure, right? No, it wasn't. It was, but hey, you know what? They were able to hold onto it for far longer than they should have been allowed to. So, you know what? GG's. It takes a really good team to do that, and they did it. So, you know what? Can't complain.
Well, congratulations then to our MVP of the game, so-called GOAT. It's going to be the one taking home that award for this match. But I do want to continue the conversation on the rocks held by Inner Circle. It's not a great position, right, Neptura? But APG were like, actually, those are really good rocks.
Oh, God.
How about we take it? And then I think Luke's at one point said that everyone wanted the rocks on the western side. They tried to snatch it out of the grasp of Inner Circle. It didn't quite work out, unfortunately, for them. But we didn't talk about them too much here in the earlier to mid-game stage portion of this match. Ultra Ego sitting in that 2-2 split on Everest was just so impactful for them to have absolute oversight on this game and know exactly what to do, and that allows them to jump up in 4th position, just shy of the highly contested top 3, which right now includes APG, 9Z Globan, and Inner Circle. This is a very big point lead already created here, Hodge. It's 38-36 down to 23. Top 2 are running away with a big lead.
Oh man, I'm telling you, this, by the way, we have to talk about it. Does this group stage not feel like completely different than the gauntlet, right? Like, it just feels crazy. These teams are rotating, I feel, so much faster. The fights are intense, and that just goes to show, right? When you can be eliminated here and right now, Neptura, you got to give it your all.
I love what we're seeing here because it's exactly that. Everyone feels like they've brought their A game immediately to game 1, to game 2. No one's waiting. There's no this sort of tiptoeing around all the teams trying to figure out, oh, what they're going to do. Oh, are they going to do this or this? Let's see. Not quite sure. Everybody's like, no, this is us. This is how we're going to play. We know all of you, and we're going to win. And I love it because every single team is doing that exact same thing.
Yeah, I mean, and especially they know what's at stake. You have to play according to the lobby, according to the rules, Max Man, right? And I think we are seeing that difference because, you know, in the gauntlet, obviously it was top 7 that moved to the grand finals. Here, it's top 3, right? And I think that at a certain point, teams are going to have to start locking down some of these top squads, at least the best they possibly can, because, I mean, we've already seen the point lead, and it's only been 2 matches.
Yeah, I mean, we saw some teams be so hesitant to do anything in the last 2 games of Miramar during the gauntlet, right, Hodges? They're so hesitant because, oh, there's still a chance if you get a decent game, but no, you've got to go hard. And I'm telling you, day 3 of Group Green, the group of death is going to be all over the goddamn place. It's going to be crazy because you have a chance also, if you're at the bottom, you're having a really bad time, you're also eliminated. So those teams are also going to be hungry to make sure they can get into the last chance. So many different storylines and clashes are going to be happening. So many different storylines and clashes are going to be happening at the later stage of Group Green, and I literally cannot wait for day 3. It's going to be pure and absolute madness.
Yeah, and you know what? One thing that we noticed is different from the gauntlet for sure, right? I think it's gotta be Alpha Gaming. You know, first we hear, Doc, take responsibility, right? And just say, you know what? It was a mistake. I thought the soft angle was gonna work, but it just didn't. And not to mention, in this game, they don't drop military, Max Man. They go to Stalver. What do you think about that change?
I mean, Nipchura, we've been covering CSA for a while, right? And we've just always asked, APG, maybe it's time to have a secondary drop location? Maybe? And they finally have it, right? Northeast next to Stolber, Kameshki. What a fantastic change for the better.
Yeah, well, you know what? I'll tell you what, guys. We got an awesome interview on the stage. Let's go ahead and take it on over to the stage to hear from the 7WG.
Welcome to a quick report with the 7WG. I'm joined by Inner Circle, Falak. What was the mindset coming into Group Green, considering that you have to be top 3?
Obviously, we want to qualify for grand final, so we are very confident. Our mindset was that we just will play aggressive, and like whatever happens in game, we will see.
Well, you're definitely playing aggressive. We just saw what you were able to do against Loops. You were just so close to do it. What was going through your mind there at the end? Because you decided to push Rado Boy, I think with like maybe 5 HP.
I thought I'm like gonna die because I had no healing, but I thought I can give it a try, and I gave my best in that situation.
Well, that's definitely going to be a highlight somewhere out there. Thank you so much. Best of luck for the rest of the day. Back to you guys.
Well, you heard it from the man himself, right? He said their mindset is being aggressive, Max, man. And I think that mindset has definitely been put into play here for the first 2 matches. At least from him, that's for sure.
Yeah, I was going to say, in a circle, they're aggressive. Fowler, he's giga aggressive. You know, he's going super hard in his matches. And I'm loving it. And we have yet to see an picture of the CQC Nate special.
Yeah, I love how relaxed it feels.
Less than 1
Used to being
second
cool, calm, and collected, but it feels today like they're at a whole nother level. Like they've finally gone, listen, we're a global team. He's been here all season. We know what we're doing. Cannot stress this enough about how relaxed, how confident they feel. Just 2 matches in, and it's looking so good. I can't wait for this next game. The way these last 2 games have been going, for IC, I need to see that more.
Yeah, we need to see that aggression big time. You know, we saw 1 match of Aaron Gale today, Max, man. You know, we noticed that APG was going up to Stallberg, picking up that secondary location. And I love to see that. I think that change is huge for them. I hope it's something that they've had in their bag for a while now, because they definitely look prepared going into this game. Now, we did have that circle, right, go on down to Gatka. We saw Wolves, you know, land in Gatka. We saw Falcons land there, that area. They weren't able to have a good game here. This lobby so different than what we saw from the Gauntlet stage. You know, when it comes to these different drops that we saw into Aaron Gale, Max, you know, what was the big team that stood out to you?
Really, hot drop wise, nothing.
Yeah, no hot drop wise, for sure.
If I want to talk about one drop that did intrigue me is Orangutan, because we know normally they were going to have a hot drop in Rozhok in the Gauntlet stage. They gave it up to go for Shelf instead as their secondary drop location. Also, Severny up north every once in a while, depending on the plane path. But no, this time they went for Rozhok, and this is Orangutan then. That means on Orangle, Hot Jukes able to play their peak performance, bring in their A game to the table, because that is what they've been playing during BMIC, during BMSD. This is the drop location they've trained for so damn long, and they can finally use that to really use their rotation to its full potential. So I think Orangutan, they're going to be feeling very comfortable now going into every single one of these Orangle matches.
Yeah, well, one thing's for sure when it comes to OG, right, is that we know that they're so solid when it comes to rotation. One thing they struggled with, though, right, is being able to flick on that aggression switch. And we heard from Balak, their mindset is pure aggression. We've been seeing that nothing from these squads. Let's go into one more match at Aaron Gale with Blank and John Allen.
It's time for another Erangel edition as we head on in from Stalba down to Sosnovka Military Island on the plane path. Blank, things are keeping temperature hot here. That final close down from 9Z took it all away from Alter Ego, who did show a little bit too much boldness on their peaks.
That they did. I think, again, it's one of those things where you look at it and I think Alter Ego up until that point looked pretty good. Closing games out is a completely separate skill set to the prep that goes into getting towards that end game. I was very, very impressed with Alter Ego up at that point as well, which is why it was quite disappointing for me, honestly, to see them fumble that end game the way they did. But again, you can only really be happy for 9Z that who were able to basically snatch away the win in those final moments.
It's a nice little turn up for the table, certainly, for 9Z. See if they can keep it on going. Are we going to get a hot drop? No, okay, Genshi not going to go down towards C block. It looks like it's just going to be APG down on military. Maybe up in Severny, could be some Argy as Team Secret and GS. A little bit close to each other, maybe a vehicle contest going on there. Have to wait and see. Looks like everybody else is fairly well extricated for the time being anyway, because we're going back to Gatka on the circles.
Back over to the fields. I don't think really anyone enjoys this. But I think the bigger issue here is the eastern plane path. off the back of this one. Does cause quite a few issues in terms of the rotates off towards that western side, because typically with a field finish like this, there's not a massive amount of critical compounds that can be taken. So if you're starting on the east side of the map anyway, anyone who gets fairly center at the start of this game is going to have a big advantage. So we're looking at Gen G, we're looking at Falcons, even potentially APG here starting in melee base. They can get out quickly, but again, this is going to require APG to be a little bit quicker on the ball of leaving from Sosnovka, and they should understand to do that. I hope they'd understand to do that with an eastern plane path. Like, they have a big advantage here to get towards a more prominent position inside the circle. I think maybe they're slightly worried about a bridge camp, but again, I think Gen G, Go, they're more preoccupied with also taking position within the center of this map.
Getting on into the middle. I mean, it worked out quite well. Nobody went to that compound on the north side, so maybe someone will take it up this time. Still, teams very much in the looting phase as we go into our 4th minute, just about ticking over into, there we go, 3 minutes and 2 seconds. And yeah, nobody really making big moves right now. Not too much trouble up on the north side. It looks like, yeah, Team Secret just went off to North George. They didn't stick around near Severny. They grabbed the vehicles and headed away. Actually, likely to transition to South George here, and why not? You've got the circle access a little bit more secure, and you won't have to go for that bridge crossing after teams have already moved into that north side area.
PubG, much more comfortable start to their game as well, John, purely because Red and Kai is no longer being a thorn on their side around Rozok. They can completely surround this area now, which is very, very nice for them going forward. They should be able to get a decent rotate from the top side of Rozok down. Like I say, for Team Secret, just instantly sending off there towards Georgia Pole. There's a lot of good rotation you can make from that position around Everest, which covers you off from quite a few sightlines. In a circle, though, they are definitely not towards the inner circle, starting on a Kameshki split. I think a lot of people are starting to favor Kameshki split a lot more over around Stalber as well. It does give you like a lot of decent paths over towards the north side and the east side of the map. On this kind of circle, it's a bit more difficult. Not that I really stopped them last game, though, to be honest. With Falak able to almost do the impossible versus Luke.
Yeah, that was... I mean, that was pretty crazy stuff. I mean, talking about that Kameshki split, though, I do think that it is very flexible, and that is its main asset, right? And it's no worse, maybe, than playing in Yasnaya on that front, but does give you more access to the north side. So, generally a net positive. I think you're right in that assessment. Maybe becoming a little bit more fashionable, as we've got a little overview there. Coming on down. They're playing it slow. They just want some more loot from these buildings. Done a little stop off and grab some more supplies along the way. There's no rush, not at the moment. They know they're going to be at the back of the queue kind of anyway, so it's not ideal to overcommit to going fast when you know that it's really not going to pay off. It's very unlikely that teams are moving ahead of you anyway.
Yeah, it's interesting as well, because I mean, just talk about the Kameshki split a little bit more. Is that like Lipovka split, where you play maybe 2 in Lipovka and then send a couple out towards Mansion? That's much more punishable as well. Whereas Kameshki, there's not really many teams that are going to punish you over towards that position of the map. There's a lot easier positions, you know, from Milta, Western Shelter, even Yasnaya, to make a split off from the rescue team to try and catch out 1 or 2 players playing around Mansion or Heaven, trying to watch and guard out from Lipovka. Yeah, that doesn't really happen in Kameshki. So that's something that Alter Ego probably have to watch out for a little bit more. Most teams have started to make their way over towards the west now, though. Wolves getting in nice and early. I think Wolves realize that they need to get a bit of a move on right now. Currently in third, 3 points in 13. Very, very unideal, especially for a team that started in the gauntlet. This doesn't look promising. Still only 2 matches. There is still time. But when you've got teams like 9Z as well as IC currently on almost 40 points apiece after 2 matches, you know, those top 3 spots are starting to look pretty unattainable.
Yeah, it's it's not super friendly right now, but you know, it's still very much early days. We are only in to match number 3, Blank. We've only seen 2 games go under the belt, and a lot of those points for Inner Circle specifically were earned in one match. The same is true for 9Z as well. It is just sort of one big match, top of the tables right now. Teams for a lot of them. We'll see who can keep up the pace. OG, they move in. They're making their rotate near Falcons, near D+, but both of those teams are on outposts. They're on 2-2 splits or don't have a full lineup to go for it immediately, and they're not taking shots out that way just yet either.
No reason to right now. You're kind of waiting for zone 2 anyway. Especially only 1 minute left on the next shift. I think for a lot of teams at this point in time, not advisable to be looking for engagements. Kind of waiting for that big migrate on zone 2, and then you can start looking for fights to try and break position on the map. APG though, they kind of did what I said. They took it a slightly longer, but didn't really matter all that much. They're already towards a pretty fantastic spot on the map right now. I think Doc does have an eye in over towards OG currently, and I think the side.
Looking to try and suppress that position. They're taking shots over towards the rejects. We're taking shots over towards OG as well, and they did have to stop off. They're poking their noses towards that APG Southside compound though, so maybe look at it cause trouble.
Get a good view of the map here. See what's next on the cards for us. Alter Ego a little bit slower to this one, but they can divert quite easily over towards Potato Hill and then towards the northwest. Around Everest though, we're pretty much going towards a similar location. For APG, it's somewhat unfortunate for the early central start. They have a fair way to move. GS though, quite happy the way this one plays out.
Yeah, they'll be able to move into that north side. The major feature, the major point of interest that is in this circle that really wasn't in the last one is Ruins. That Ruins area to the east of Everest is going to be, I'm sure, where GS are going to at least look to try and go. Some of the buildings around that area, teams are going to try and filter through. 9Z as well. Maybe they'll be able to get on over there because they're going for their classic. Let's just go over the top and see what we can find their position. This south edge, though, across the fields, is going to get brutal. And Gen G eat first blood. There's claws to go down.
Yeah, the wide wrap kings in 9Z, it's been working out all right, to be honest. GS though, like you said, did stop off over towards Castle and Ruins. Decent spots to play in going forward. Again, leaving Ruins is a little bit awkward, so I actually quite like OG's position, which is just east of Everest there, picking up the compounds in that area. I think you might have teams wanting to try and challenge for that spot at some point, but for the time being, I think most players are quite comfortable in their current positions. This is going to be a little bit more of a slow game. Also, OG flexing out towards top of Everest, trying to get some high ground control as well. Okay.
All right. You want to get an oversight? Fair enough. I mean, Everest, big feature in this zone. Alter Ego were playing towards it before, not fully on the top of it towards the end there, but it's a little bit more central this time around, and maybe will play well. Loops on the road. Alter Ego sending in towards some of those Ruins positions. Sue, they've already lost Alva, and that's a flush from Falak.
Yeah, well played. I mean, he's flexed out from the rest of the squad. Just finds a quick pick off and will pick up the flush off the back of it as well. The guy is insane. Actually insane. Yeah, I think a lot of people understand why I usually say that Falak's probably one of my top 3 favorite players of all time. I think he was someone who really impressed me on his off-angle plays in the past and was one of the best to do it. And now again showing off just how strong he can be here in the biggest international tournament of the year.
And what a time to do it as well. Looking really, really hot. Finger on the trigger, ready to go at a moment's notice, drop of a hat. Reject, they're moving up on the west side, currently skirting around the west of Hospital. Currently Goats occupy that area, but they are going to divert further north than Goats' position and maybe challenge towards Everest here. I mean, this is very similar circle the last time around. The difference here, though, Blank, is that Wolves are in the compound that nobody went into last time around. You said they needed to move a little bit earlier. Maybe that's what they were looking for. An APG in their compound that ended up being a pretty convincingly winning compound in the last one. They'll take up occupation there.
I like that for Wolves. You know, they spectate the game. They're like, what can we do differently? Pick the open compound, perhaps. And so they're close to it now, so they just go for it. Understanding that it seems to not really be in the progress of a lot of other teams' routes in towards the circle there. So Wolves, I don't mind it. I don't mind it. It is slightly on the western side, quite close to the edge of the circle, which is a bit worrisome. But it's playable. It's definitely playable towards the end game. Goat's finding Patino from Loops. Yeah, getting the same circle again is a weird one, right, John? Where you kind of make some adjustments to your last game, maybe patch up some holes in your playstyle.
I mean, it is absolutely, and given that teams were sort of all in very similar drop spots as well, it's got to play out maybe fairly similarly. But Falak's down. And that is bad news for Inner Circle fans. Looks like they are going to rally the troops, though, and it's just Krypton close by. Could potentially be more trouble around the corner, but at the moment, T24 just drawing attention. Yeah, they're going to be able to get this res. Rosemary moving into position, though. There's an off angle. He looks for it, and Snape gets the spray down as well. Two players from Alter Ego able to line up the shots, and now Inner Circle have lost another player. This is a good little pickup for Alter Ego, working the ground around them.
I mean, they had a little bit of damage done to them earlier, but it's Wolves in a 4v4 with them and Reject, and it is going swimmingly well as Reject will hit the deck. Wolves retain all 4 players up, and that is a convincing finish there for them. In the meantime, Inner Circle are just getting battered and bruised by Alter Ego. Not happy with them taking down one of their players earlier, Alva.
No, they will do a hell of a lot more in response. T24 did manage to get away for Inner Circle, so Solo on the north side playing on. Wolves held the compound against Reject. We saw that push coming through, that crash from Reject did not go their way. And what that meant is that GOAT could not third party. OG couldn't extract elimination points. Both of those two teams playing up towards Everest, which is really good news for the Wolves. It means that it's much less likely that they're going to get third partied on an approach here now.
Yeah, exactly, and that is a big thing when it comes to big crashes, because we saw it even on that first game of the day, is where Pablo Supermassive just could not hold on the north side of Rondo, because they dealt with the first 2 crashes, but if teams keep coming, then eventually things are going to start to get rough. Big shift though towards the north side, keeps Everest in, damn, goodness me, but APG get a central circle, and Prank no more. Dark with a lovely nade over towards T24. And that will sit APG at 2 eliminations, and they are looking to secure a position in that top 3 at the end of this game.
I mean, it's like the exact same circle. It's insane. We're going to exactly the same place, exactly the same finishes. Maybe a couple more teams on that north side, and that lining that Everest side as well, which was, as you were talking about before, a bit of a major feature of that last game, right? That glut of teams moving in on the northeast, playing that area. That's a little bit more spread out here. So that's probably going to be the pace difference in this match. We'll see what can get done. OG still lining the top of Everest with Papa Supermassive trying to move in, but with APG down beneath them, taking shots, and with OG up the top, you don't imagine that's going to be super successful.
Snape just stood on top of Chips' position, so that we'll find him. Let's get down off there. What are you doing? Sit on the rooftops. Then goes in, won't find any damage. But for Alter Ego, it looks like it's starting to come to a little bit of a close here for them. I think it's tough rotates from here on out. For APG, though, they are just fully committed to the 4-man hold.
Ooh, the nade. It's just Krypton now, I believe, left for Alter Ego. As he keeps it on going, though, wants to get stuck into the fight. No boot. around the corner. Does go down. Chips has an off angle. There's someone across the way, but Krypton finds the inside of the building. A little shack, but the Molotov burns the door away. A mad dash across, and Krypton's just juking him out right now. Osal hopping in with the auto shotty. The healing's there. He's looking for Snake, but no! He's beneath the boxes. A spin around. He got the heal off as well, but it's just Chips now on the inside. D+ have a nightmare sent their way, and GS can close them down here and now.
I mean, that predict on the Molotov was something serene in that moment. Love to see it. The fact that he's able to jump out there in time and then quickly get in cover and get the first aid off. I don't think D+ here was expecting that kind of resilience from Solo. GS now looking to finish off the players from D+ they get out, but they've also got other concern, which is getting into the circle itself. 9Z moving over towards where APG were playing, hoping to take control back again of a position they held before.
APG's nades. Fending off against Team Secret and 9Z. Ooh, this is nasty stuff. Only 2 players alive for 9Z. Nade just a bit long there from top. Onto the 2 from 9Z. Won't quite be able to find it. Team Secret, I feel like their position is going to get weaker and weaker as fights around them conclude. They need to start pushing in and start gaining ground inside this building.
There's a slight waste of grenades there coming through from APG. I think the first couple were fine, you know, just on the off chance you're able to hit something. What is Bomb doing on Tiamba? Yeah, I mean, sure. I don't know why you thought it was a solo. That'd be a great place to try and live out the rest of the games that were the most contested areas on the map.
Hey, look, Aki's going to give it a go as well. In the meantime, though, Wolves flex out of their compound. They push up Everest. They crunch Goat in between them and OG. A lot of damage inflicted by Coops towards Goat, and it is going to leave Goat down now on 2 players. The job is done. Wolves regroup back down to the south. They know that with the circle shifting up north, their compound is going to be a prime target for taking the teams on the south side. I'm looking at Falcons.
OG is just major oversight over towards the rest of the map right now. They've got a incredible Overwatch. This is the type of time for a team like OG to start picking up some big points off the back of this one. I think I like this flex out over towards the eastern side. Leaving WizGod behind to fend off the 2 players from Goat is a good idea. Not likely Goat's going to push, and these players on the east can start to take shots over towards GS or even the Falcons as they attempt to come on in.
Ooh, Ratto Boy wants to try and find the spray. Genji will look at a regroup, but they had to give one up. I think that's Tiamba out. Yes, it is. They will go down in 12th. No, Raptor Boy tries to shut the door behind him. Nice and polite, but that's not going to get you anywhere. Falcons and GS, though, are clashing heavily on this hilltop. At the moment, it's going both ways and taking knocks, and Falcons finally finding an advantage. But in rolls SO, he's down from across the way. It's a tanky taking the shot. Are the Falcons still alive? Only just for the blue zones here, and Redox desperately trying to heal it, and he can't get it done. The bandage is not fast enough. And that is 2 teams isolated with 1 spray down from a tanky.
Yeah, I mean, the easy stuff. And this is exactly what I was talking about, is that flex out towards the eastern side. It's the obvious choice, and it's well done. That clears out a massive amount of space. Finally, Top is able to hit a disgusting grenade, so maybe not a waste after all. Just needs to find the right angle on it. Genji, your arms aren't that strong. I'm gonna be real with you. This is some unreasonably long lobbing distance.
Very ambitious. I like the spirit, you know? Unfortunately, that's not what counts. It's if you actually get the nade on it. That's what you're looking for. I mean, Team Secret, they believe them, though. That's the thing.
They really do. They're like, oh, it's a bit scary. Wait, maybe we could send one back. There's some okay nades. Good chip damage as well.
Molotov just goes a little bit long. They're not quite sinking them down.
But it corrals them though.
It does do that, yeah, you're right, and actually forces one of them out. That will be a nade range of Gen G. Maybe now they should have had the nades. Unfortunately, not to be. The nades keep sinking in, but the heals coming through to keep them safe. There's shots. Who's that coming from? That's Wolves. Dorin able to shut down Zyol, and they have to back it off. Seems like this compound makes teams think that they can peek when they shouldn't. Doc, learning from that last match, moves out to where we saw Rosemary flex out to last time.
Yeah, I mean, in that spot as well, your biggest issue is the fact that to get the air burst on where Team Secret's playing, you have to push far enough out to lob the grenade down. The only way you can do that is with a smoke, but then you're throwing the nade blind, so you have to kind of hope for it. And if you don't use the smoke, then Wolves have that angle from the western side. So Team Secret actually is really quite safe right now, honestly. It's difficult for APG to remove them, and now because they're close towards the center, APG has a big problem on their hands.
He's peeked over the ridge line and immediately is humbled on the peak. Doesn't go down though, which could be crucial. Go on a mad crash. Let's see if they can cling on, if the hooves have got enough grip to make it to somewhere, to anywhere that they can find. They've got to some trees, they got to a rock or two. Maybe they'll stay alive for just a moment longer. This fight in the compound just doesn't seem to want to conclude. OG
nice.
To fully isolate. That's the nade they were looking for. That is what they wanted to find, and the first knock is finally going to come through.
Nice.
A second, a third as well. That's the off angle coming in, and it will be devastating for them. A fourth nade, maybe they'll find it. Reefus does go down in the meantime. Doc should be on picking that one up. That nade's going to go wide. Just one player now left standing. Zyol spots him. The off angles do too. The Wolves are going to have a say.
I mean, Tanky's picking up points from the back of this as well over towards Team Secret. Again, it's not an easy nade to throw for Zyol. It really does quite take some precision. Doc makes that one look pretty easy though, but again, it's Doc. It's Doc. So we have to bow down and accept that. But for APG, 11 points on the game right now. This is way better from them, and you start to wonder if it's a case it was nerves going into the gauntlet there, where they were playing against some of the best teams in the world. I think that APG plays a lot better when they think that they're the big dogs in the lobby, which they certainly are here.
Seems so with the current situation. Coops moving up really high up the mountain, getting that off angle, using the time available to him without that blue zone on the pressure. And yeah, Wisgod, he's done and dusted. Will be flushed out now. Wolves playing from that western side. They've been a little bit quieter than the other teams. They moved into their position early. You liked it, Blank. It seems like they felt it too. Coops using this high ground to the best of his advantage whilst he still can, but needs to start to evacuate now. With the blue zone pushing through, that is going to be further down the hill for them to sink, and it's going to leave APG and Wolves the only 4-player team across solos, and an OG on the 3-player Miracle Run.
For OG, they're already splitting though quite early. They do have that anchor in AKOP down the hillside. Chips is attempting to get as many points as possible off the back of this one, but for D+, it has been a little bit odd watching them, right? The aggression isn't there. They feel fairly weak in these team fights, which is so strange compared to the performance we've seen from them in the past. So yeah, I think D+ needs to find their footing once again, because at the moment this just isn't going to cut it.
North shift on the circle. I mean, this is OG with the majority of the land mass in this one. APG gonna have to move north, and maybe D+ make it to third, you know, on this solo position with Chips.
I mean, this is kind of, in my mind, this is a big question for OG now, because this is probably the 5th time the circle has shifted towards them this game, and they have decent positioning in it. We've seen these times of circle shifts before for OG, and I think it's closing the match, which is still the thing that they are struggling to do here.
You can't let that happen as well. The solo position coming through from D+. That's going to split and really diminish this power, this position for OG. Aru kind of isolated up the top there. Needs to hop in the vehicle, drop a smoke, get some acceleration on the way down. But where do you go from there? You got to get into nade range of everything else. APG flexing out. Look at top move. He's going around the edge, and it's going to be all up to AKOP down on the low ground to stay alive for them.
Nice shot from Chips. Immediate response over towards the top. I think there was a little bit of assistance coming through on the sidelines there.
No way.
And that's the... Again, they know that Chips is here.
That's crazy. That's crazy that Chips has been able to do that.
Yeah.
He's been allowed so much freedom on this north side, taking down top as well on the approach. I mean, that slowed APG. The solo position now behind a tree is completely known. He's trying to drop these smokes and get a little bit safer. I don't think such a place exists.
Yeah. For APG, I think this is a win. It should be a win, right? For Wolves, if they're able to take the fight to APG, though, that is a massive thing for them. For Wolves, it will certainly put some confidence back in them, which I think they're absolutely lacking at the moment. I think that there's a lot of times where Wolves are even second-guessing their own decisions that they make in these games, where two players will have a very different plan from one another. But this game feels a lot better in terms of that so far. I do think that the success they found from that mid-game has really helped them, but Doc already finding that angle over towards Igor is pretty bad news. 12 elims so far for APG, and nade down the hillside to confirm this knock over towards Chips. He just about jumps out the way. Doc?
The buggy
Hello?
reposition. The nade is long. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh dear. Doc moves out as well. Chips finally goes down. It's Batten to be able to find that, so that is solidified. Doc is still alive. APG gonna have to move forwards a little bit with their off angles. This is a straight up 3v4 between these two teams now, as they were able to find one of the Wolves earlier.
Yeah, I mean, Doc just ran him over, by the way.
Yeah. Crack on, lad.
That's stylish. A little reverse from reverse.
Absolutely. Getting the tire blown out doesn't mean you can't look good. He is going to slide into safety. Slide into home base. The Wolves now flexing back now. Trying to get a north side position. Remember, it closes dead center on this circle. And APG are going to move up to the ridge lines. There's this divot that sits in front of the Wolves. APG can't go full for it. I mean, especially can't, given the 14 nades on side for the Wolves. They've got a lot of utility, and APG, they need to place that one nade perfectly.
For APG, it is just one day they need, but I think they expended a lot of them over towards Team Secret earlier. Good shots over towards Wolves now have all been slammed into the same position. Top has all the angles that he might like, and Wolves again is just, I think they're trying to find safety in numbers, but what they need here is angles over towards APG, and they're unwilling to go for them. Baton just exposes himself there. Zol's immediately stepping up. Now just two players remaining. Coops would need two massive nades to finish from now. And it's definitely, it should be a 16 elim game here coming through for APG, barring some craziness from the Wolves.
You would think so. As they get that flush, they're up to 14 already. They're grouped up a little bit, and there's still a couple of nades left. They're all being unleashed now, though. None of them really connecting. Doc a little bit further away than that. The bounce around the side. He just steps out in time. Doc just about in cover. He knows nades. He knows what's going on there. And there go the Molotovs, the utility. Ziol steps up and does get taken down. Coops needs to commit to the heal right now, and there's no nades in response. There's still, no, they don't have any. It's only one nade on the Wolves' back pocket. That gets sent forwards towards top. Goes long. Coops forced into the trade. From the high ground, will not be needed. The backup not there. Thoro behind the tree will get burnt away. And APG, I don't know if they got that last elim, but they were able to hold onto the zone, hold onto the game this time around. And it is a different team that we're seeing from the Gauntlets who've stepped into Group Green.
Yeah, I mean, if you're an APG fan, you're probably like both not surprised and quite annoyed, right? You're not surprised that APG is suddenly doing really well, and you're both kind of annoyed that they didn't play like this during the Gauntlet stage. Again, it is one of those moments, though, where that interview with Seven was actually very telling, where Doc admits a mistake, and I do think that this team almost required humbling within the Gauntlet. For them, it was more like the Forge. They were getting slammed by the hammer, and now they look sharper than ever coming into these group stages.
It is very, very nice stuff to see APG able to go the full distance there. It looked like Wolves had a pretty good game there too. Blank, their position on the western side of that circle, they held those compounds nicely, and they were able to transition fairly successfully. I think that OG maybe let it slip during that game as well. They didn't have the control from Everest that they wanted. They weren't able to inflict the damage that they needed.
Yeah, for Wolves, there's definitely that situation where you look at them and you can tell that there's still some floundering happening in those final game moments, whereas APG immediately had their plan and they stuck to it. So it's tough. I'd like to see what Max had to say about that APG win, though, because he's probably quite happy about it.
We have the same circle as match number 2, and guess what? The same level of hype. This was a close one. Once again, we get Alpha Gaming going against Wolves in a 4v3, and I mean, at this point, Alpha Gaming were just unstoppable, Max.
The APG win is real!
Yeah!
It exists! Sorry, I had to pop off at one point because finally the APG prank is over, Hot Jukes. It happened! The gauntlet is done.
Way too long. Way too long.
Yeah, and it's called the Group of Death because they are in the lobby. They're top here with a P90, able to put the nail in the coffin of Wolves. Really, really happy with the execution of this game. And I'm really happy to see the rotations later on of this game for APG Niptro because they saw that compound, they saw the circle, was like, samesies? We take good compound. Yeah. This time it's ours.
Yeah, it was really, really nice. I loved seeing different teams do the same things as other teams in match 2. Like OG, for instance, did the same sort of strat as AE. So that was really nice to see it go, oh, same circle. Let's do what we didn't. Let's not do what we did last time and do what they did this time. And it was really, it worked. It worked a lot better. OG able to put up a really good fight there. But yeah, yeah, APG coming through. It was nice to see that they still got it. They still got it. Even, I mean, so many people were like, oh, nah, this is it, bro. This is it, right? And they came back and like, no, we know exactly what we're doing. We're still as good, and we're gonna show y'all.
Dude, I'll tell you what, man. Maybe these guys just wanted a little piece of that group stage money. I don't know what it was, but Doc taking responsibility, and oh man, is it working now. Look at that, 967 damage, 5 eliminations. They take the most dominant compound in that circle. Max, man, I called it the second we saw that zone. I was like, that's the compound. That's going to be the team that wins, and what do you know it? APG take it, and it works for them.
Some people call that compound the Hot Jukes compound. There's history of Hot Jukes in that position, but know that they take it very early on, and especially the nades, Niptro, we saw them throw onto Team Secret. They were playing the Ridge, were just so well executed from Zyol and Doc in particular. Very happy with it as we go through the replays, but damn. Yeah, APG here, again, copying the early strat from some teams in the previous game, and here execute it to almost perfection. It was really, really good game from them.
Yeah, I loved what we saw from them coming in there. It was exactly what we wanted to see from Alter Ego in the last game, and they were able to just capitalize on that and actually make it work for them. Yeah, even better. Some awesome, crazy shots coming in through here, though. Like, all these headshots, long distance is insane. Krypton was insane. You can see, because he almost had it.
Watch those hands.
It's so true, right? So true.
Oh,
but some really, really cool shots.
Yeah, beautiful shots indeed right there. Those nades, by the way, you know, we were talking about them earlier, right, from APG on the TS. I mean, they didn't waste any time, right? They were going to make sure that they took that team out there at the bottom of the hill, and that worked out for them. One thing I do want to mention, though, right, was how dominant this OG position was on the hill. But they were just so split and got picked apart one by one. Max, man, what do you think about that?
Look, I'm going to tell you the one thing that annoys me with Orangutan that I've mentioned it also during the Gauntlet stage. They are so good at taking positions like this. Like, they learned from the previous game, right? They're like, wait, that was a really good position. The circle's the same. We're going to take it away from Alter Ego. And when they're in full control, they just decide to go for these splits, and they just give up a great potential finish over to another squad. It's a slight thing to adjust. If they do, I think we can finally see some big wins from Orangutan as we go through the replays here. And I want you all right now, Niptura, and everyone here, to pay attention to APG. They're like, oh, cross the bridge. Okay, we wait for phase 2. Oh, phase 2, we're chilling. Chopsticks area. This is great. Phase 2 pops are like, the compound is free. The same one. Yoink, it's ours. And same for Orangutan June, as you said, Nitro, the same play as Alter Ego. So teams had just like big deja vu on that phase 2 shift. It was very funny.
Wolves as well, right, coming in and going, hey, that compound was free the entire game last time. Let's not make that same mistake again. We're taking it, baby. And they were able to get a top 2 finish out of it. So I doubt that mistake will be happening anytime soon.
Well, you know what? One thing I definitely want to talk about, and I remember you guys having a little bit of contention about that strategy, was Wolves, right? They were about to push up on that hill and possibly take OG on a little bit early, but then they decide not to. What do you think about that possible push, Max, man?
From which team? Sorry, you like that for me.
Wolves. Oh, sorry. Yeah, it was Wolves. Remember when they were about to push up on the Everest, on the OG, but then they kind of like just stopped and ended up going back? What do you think? You think that was a good idea? You think they should have pushed then, or you think it was good for them to hold off on that push?
I think it was good for them to hold off because sure, Everest would give them a lot of value if they're able to win that fight, but of course, every time you take an engagement, it's a bit of a risk. It's a bit of a 50-50 as to do you come out unscathed or not from that engagement. But I think actually here, Niptra, them staying in the compound to the west was the right call because you're still in circle. You're not forced to make a big decision just yet, so you just easily make it into the later stage. For me, passive approach was the best approach for the side of Wolves.
Yeah, I agree to a certain extent that holding that compound... Oh, hang on. Doc MVP, we haven't seen that in a good long while. So nice to see him back up here. But going back to our conversation real quick here is... yeah, I agree to a certain extent that yes, absolutely staying in the compound was the correct play, but I don't mind the split that they made, the 1-3 split up to Everest, because they were very mobile with it. They weren't over pushing. They were just trying to control that angle, make sure that the teams up on Everest didn't come on down. So I really did like that play from them, but we see the overall rankings, and that win onto APG pushes them, clears the gap by quite a bit, and puts them in first place. What a game from them. That was so important.
Dude, what a crazy start to the day. 48 points, guys. That is an average of 16 points a game for Alpha. I mean, yep, they slept during the gauntlet, but they're awake now in the group stage. They definitely don't want to be on that bottom 5. As a matter of fact, remember, those bottom 5 are out of here. It's good to see the Wolves after that game. They pushed themselves into 7th place. Remember, 4th through 11th, those are the teams going to that survival stage. We got a lot more action for you guys coming up. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back after that.
The race to be the one begins. The 2025 PubG Mobile Global Championship will be held in Bangkok, Thailand from November 24th to December 14th. The ultimate stage where legends are forged and champions are crowned. Let's dive into this year's updated format. The journey starts with the Gauntlet, a high-stakes 3-day stage where momentum and pressure peak from day 1. The top 7 advance directly to the grand finals. Teams ranked 8 through 16 head to the group stage. Also new, Rondo replaces Sandhawk in the map rotation, starting each match day. After the Gauntlet, the PMGC continues with Group Green from November 28th to the 30th and Group Red from December 2nd to the 4th. 32 teams are split into 2 groups of 16. In the group stage, the mission is simple. Finish in the top 3 of your group to secure a spot in the grand finals. Place 4 through 11 and you get one last chance to stay in the fight. Land in the bottom 5 and you're eliminated. Once the groups are over, the final 2 grand final spots are determined in the last chance stage. 16 teams compete over 2 days on December 6th and 7th with no room for error. Only the top 2 keep their dream alive. After the PMGC League concludes, it's time for the final number 12 to the